For most of his life, Marcus believed that the harder a person worked, the more successful he would become. That belief was passed down from his grandfather to his father, and from his father to him. In their family, exhaustion was considered proof of effort. If you came home tired, covered in dust, and barely able to stand, it meant you were doing something right. Marcus grew up in a small rural town where nearly everyone worked with their hands. When his father passed away, Marcus inherited a modest piece of land measuring about 15 acres. It wasn't large, but it was enough to support a family if used wisely. Marcus promised himself he would turn that land into something great. From the very first day, he worked like a man trying to outrun time. Every morning he woke up before 4 o'clock while the sky was still dark and silent. He washed his face with cold water, ate a quick piece of bread, and walked straight to the fields. He plowed the soil manually, lifted heavy sacks of seed, and carried water buckets back and forth across the land until his arms trembled. He barely rested. When the sun climbed high and burned his skin, he kept going. When his body screamed for sleep, he pushed harder. His wife Clara often waited with warm food, but most nights Marcus was too exhausted to eat properly. "You're killing yourself slowly," she said gently. Marcus shook his head. "Success requires sacrifice." Other farmers noticed his effort. "Marcus works harder than anyone," they said. But what no one said out loud was that Marcus wasn't getting ahead. Despite working nearly 16 hours a day, his crops often struggled. Some seasons were decent, but many were weak. Fertilizer costs rose. Water was expensive. Tools kept breaking. Debt quietly grew. Marcus tried to fix the problem the only way he knew how: by working harder. He woke up even earlier. He slept even less. He pushed until his body hurt constantly. Yet nothing improved. Right next to Marcus's land lived a man named Henry. Henry owned nearly the same amount of land, maybe even a little less, but Henry's life looked very different. Henry woke up around sunrise. He worked calmly. He stopped by mid-afternoon. Evenings were spent with family, reading, or planning. Yet every harvest season, Henry's crops were healthier, fuller, and more profitable. This difference slowly tortured Marcus. How can someone who works half as much succeed twice as much? At night, Marcus lay awake staring at the ceiling, calculating numbers in his head, feeling fear grow in his chest. One year, a severe drought hit the region. Rain disappeared for weeks. The soil cracked. Crops began dying. Farmers panicked. Marcus decided he would fight harder than ever. He began walking nearly 2 miles to a water source each day, carrying heavy containers back and forth dozens of times. His shoulders swelled. His back burned. Blisters formed on his hands. But he kept repeating to himself, "Hard work never fails." Henry, meanwhile, calmly adjusted irrigation lines he had installed months earlier, letting water drip slowly into the soil during cooler hours. While Marcus nearly collapsed each day, Henry's land stayed alive. After nearly 2 weeks of nonstop effort, Marcus's body finally gave up. One afternoon, while lifting a heavy container, his vision blurred. The world spun. The water slipped from his hands and splashed into the dirt. Marcus fell to the ground unconscious. Clara found him later, terrified. At the hospital, the doctor spoke firmly. "Your husband is severely exhausted, dehydrated, and close to heart failure. If he continues like this, he may not survive another year." That night, Marcus lay awake, unable to sleep. For the first time, he questioned everything. "I worked harder than everyone," he whispered. "Why am I still losing?" Clara squeezed his hand. "Maybe effort alone isn't the answer." Those words stayed in his mind like a drumbeat. 3 days later, when Marcus was strong enough to walk again, he did something his pride had always stopped him from doing. He walked to Henry's farm. Henry looked surprised but welcomed him warmly. They sat under a shaded tree overlooking green crops. Marcus finally spoke honestly. "I don't understand. I work all day. I'm always tired. But you work less and succeed more. Please tell me what I'm doing wrong." Henry remained quiet for a long moment. Then he stood up. "Come with me." He took Marcus to his storage shed and picked up 2 axes. One was old and blunt. The other was sharp and clean. "Imagine 2 men cutting wood," Henry said. The first swings nonstop with a dull blade. The second sharpens his tool and works calmly. Henry handed Marcus the dull axe. Marcus swung several times at a thick log. It barely cut. His arms tired quickly. Then Henry used the sharp axe. 2 strong swings split the log clean in half. Henry looked Marcus in the eyes. "You've been working harder than anyone," he said gently, "but you've never sharpened your blade." They walked across the field slowly. Henry explained how he studied soil types, chose high-yield crops, installed efficient watering systems, tracked expenses, planned harvest times, and rested his body so his mind stayed sharp. "I don't avoid hard work," Henry said. "I avoid useless work. Being busy is not the same as being productive." Marcus felt like someone had lifted a curtain from his eyes. That night he went home and for the first time didn't rush to sleep. He planned, he calculated, he learned. Over the following weeks, Marcus changed everything. He sold outdated tools. He installed simple irrigation lines. He reduced crop varieties and focused on what worked best. He scheduled rest. He tracked every cost. Instead of 16 exhausted hours, he worked 8 focused ones. At first it felt strange, almost lazy. But soon results appeared. Plants grew stronger, water use dropped, costs decreased, energy returned. Marcus smiled again. He laughed with Clara again. 6 months later, harvest season arrived. Marcus's farm produced more crops than any previous year. Profit replaced debt. For the first time in years, fear left his heart. Henry hugged him proudly. "You sharpened your blade," Marcus whispered. "I thought suffering meant success." Henry smiled. Wisdom makes success easier. From that day on, Marcus shared the lesson with anyone who would listen. Hard work matters, but smart work multiplies results. Exhaustion is not achievement. Thinking is power. Sometimes pushing harder isn't the solution. Stepping back and planning is. Because success isn't built by how tired you become. It's built by how wisely you work. And the moment you sharpen your mind, your life changes faster than effort ever could.